What is up, everyone? This is Quarter Recall, our live show where we take a look back at what's going on in popular culture 25 years ago this week. Music, movies, video games. I said that out of order and it really threw me off. But anything you want to talk about. Before we get back to the past, is there anything you want to talk about, Leo, from this week? Oh, yeah, this is my co host, Leo. He's there. He's here too, like always. So say hi, Leo.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Hey, hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I got up to a little bit of stuff this week. I finished watching the first season of Bridgerton,
So good,
which
right?
was yeah, it was well, yeah.
It's good and
There's
not so good. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's really quite an interesting show because it is good, I think, in a lot of ways. It's also really kind of shitty in a lot of ways. It's an interesting combination, but I'm enjoying it thoroughly. And the second season just launched yesterday, so I will be enjoying that over the weekend. It's a real fun show to talk about, if that makes sense. Like, it's a great water cooler show, more than it is like super high quality television. But I'm very much enjoying it, so I can't really pretend like it's not good enough to enjoy, right?
Yeah, it was fun to watch with my partner and talk shit about
Totally.
everybody, right? Like I think that's
Yeah,
the point, right?
while also really enjoying it. Exactly.
But just to be like, oh, I can't believe this bitch, it's very like
Yeah.
gossip. It's a gossip show, right? So it's
Yeah,
yeah,
totally. And
fun.
it is beautiful looking. All the people are beautiful, and the production values are high. It's a real fun show, and it's short. There's only 8 episodes a season, so it's not like a big commitment. So anyway, I'm sure next week I'll give you the season 2 update.
I can't wait. Can't wait to hear it.
I also played a little bit of Elden Ring, not a lot, but I am enjoying it. I'm just kind of real slowly picking away at it. I just got through, I think, the first boss, or I don't know. I got into that castle and just absolutely annihilated this one guy. And then I'm just poking around in that castle, and I'm having a lot of fun just like cheesing enemies and figuring out strategies to not actually get anywhere near them, which has been fun.
The guy with the hammer and
Yeah, he has like a bunch of horns growing out of the side of his head.
Yeah.
I don't know what his name is.
I can't. I never. Everyone remembers the boss's names, and I remember none of them. Right? Like I remember fighting them, but I don't remember any other names. I don't look at that shit.
Yeah, I'm having real trouble with all the proper nouns. Not because it's bad or worse than any other lore or anything. I'm just, I don't know, for whatever reason, not really paying attention to it.
Well, I feel like
anyway.
they know like 6 names. There's like Melina, Melina, Ronnie,
Ronnie.
Fanny. Like everyone's got like the same name with a slight variation.
I think Fanny and Ronnie are my favorite Elden Rings characters.
Yeah, I think it's Randy. I think it's really like how they say it in the game. She's awesome, by the way. But yeah.
No, totally. But yeah, anyway, I don't have a lot more to say about it other than I'm still enjoying it and still going to keep playing it.
I played a little bit this week too. Actually, I jumped back in and decided to clear some stuff out before I'm probably going to start a new game plus. But I was just kind of like, there's like literally whole sections of the map I've never been in. After beating the game, so I was exploring a bit. It's a good game. I love it.
I could see it being a really good new plus or new game plus game, just because like I said, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of different like routes you could take, and being OP in that game seems like it'd be extremely fun and satisfying.
Yeah, and there's just stuff I closed myself off to that I'm very disappointed about. Right? So I kind of have to play it again. But
yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
required by law.
What else did you play this week?
I played Xenoblade Chronicles. I think that's what it's called. I get all those Xeno games confused. For the Switch, it was the one that was on the Wii originally. That there was that whole fanfare around Operation Rainfall. You remember?
I don't remember that.
So there was a group of Wii games in 20 whenever it was, and everyone wanted them to bring them over to the United States. They were Japanese games, and they were like, nah. Nintendo was like, nah, fuck you. It was Xenoblade Chronicles, Pandora's Tower, and The Last Story were the 3 games. And there was a big movement on this side of the pond to have them translate, and then in England they had them localized. Which I only bring that part up because it's actually quite interesting playing a JRPG where everyone has English accents, because it was localized in Europe, which is kind of unusual, and I'm actually really enjoying that part of it.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it is kind of fun. It's just a little bit different. Did you ever play that one? I know you played the second one, but I'm curious if you ever had any experience with the first one.
No, I never played the first one.
Yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. It's that same thing where it's enormously complicated. Like there's just so many menus and so many systems and mechanics like just piled on top of one another. But I really like the combat. It's quite fun. It's very challenging but very entertaining.
Yeah.
The music's gorgeous and it looks great on the Switch. I think actually it looks a lot better than the second one, which is sort of odd.
Yeah, the dude's in Smash. That's the only way I know it. But Did it get
Yeah,
like,
Shulk.
yeah? Did it get like remastered for Switch, or is it just
It
the?
did.
Okay.
Yeah, it's totally. I wouldn't say it's totally redone, but yeah, all the textures are higher. The character models are better. There's a lot of QOL improvements. Apparently, I didn't play the Wii one very much, so I'm not like super biased, but I really am enjoying this port. It seems great, and it's just a huge, beautiful, like fun game.
Yeah.
Um, I don't have too much else to say about it because I'm only like 4 or 5 hours in, but it is interesting playing it alongside Elden Ring since they're both like vaguely open world and they're both from Japan. But other than that, they could not be more different in almost every conceivable way, which is sort of kind of neat, you know?
Yeah, it is funny. The second one has British accents too. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't know if
think
they
they were
just,
probably like, "Hey, this works."
yeah, I don't know if they like we got some voice actors or a group that's doing it. Let's just stick with it.
Yeah.
But
I remember the second one being more annoying than this one as far as like the characters were more irritating and it had more of those like irritating anime tropes. This one does too. It's very anime, but for some reason this one so far, again, I'm only a few hours in, feels a little less irritating than the second one.
I like the second one.
No, yeah, I'm not saying it's
You're
terrible by
such
any
a
means,
fucking
but
hater, dude. You're always a hating on everything I like, and I'm
I like
tired
how
of it.
I mentioned like a vague criticism and sandwich it with praise, and you're like, bro,
You
stop
hate
being a hater.
everything I like, and I hate that.
And you hate that, yeah.
Yeah, I hate
You
that
hate
you
you.
hate everything I
I
like.
would I would say you're a hater of my opinions,
I'm
which
a
is the worst
hater of
thing you
your
could be.
hate, right? Like,
Yeah, the tolerance of intolerance, or what's
yeah,
that called?
yeah, right? Like, whatever. Pirate myth or make you uncomfortable, okay? Like, that's fine. That's your problem. That's not their problem, okay? So get over it.
I
Get,
own that game for the record, so
so do I.
um,
It broke my Switch.
yeah,
I don't
that's
know
how good
how,
it is.
but yeah, like my Wi-Fi like chip just melted down when I was playing that game, and I just said my
It was pirate, man. It's those character designs
yeah, it
melted
must
your
be it's
Switch.
too fucking hot for the Switch hardware. Um, oh my god.
Yeah. So
Oh
anyway,
my god.
that's mostly what I played. I'll play all of these some more, and yeah, next week will probably be more of the same. But I'll give you some updates on Bridgerton and Elden Ring and Xenoblade Chronicles. What did you get up to this week? A little bit of Elden Ring. It sounds like anything else?
Little bit of ER, just running around, really just trying to find bosses I haven't killed yet and kill them because now I can kill everything because I am so strong, which
Yeah,
is fun.
because you're an Elden
Because
Lord.
I'm the Elden Lord, clearly. So
Yeah,
that's been a good time, and also it's fun just like trying different weapons and stuff, which is what I've been doing
yeah,
before I go to New Game Plus. I just want to have the things I want to take with me, and I don't know what that is yet. Uh, so some of that I did play a little bit of. Have you played Tunic before? Or have you heard of it?
no, I've been hearing a lot about it, but I have not played it.
A lot like Elden Ring, to be honest with you.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I feel like people like are not prone to make this comparison, but it's definitely true. Like I feel like a lot of people that want to hate on Elden Ring for being completely confusing and like and not explaining itself love Tunic and hate that they love Tunic for doing the exact same thing, right? Because it doesn't explain shit. I think the one thing it has that Elden Ring doesn't has this really cute like manual that you find pages for, and they kind of cryptically tell you like, oh, like like with pictures, like pictographs and runic language of like, oh, this is how you do things, or this is what this button does, or this is how
Huh,
you sprint,
that's
right?
cool.
Like it never tells you, and then you like look at a page and it's like, oh, you can sprint.
Yeah,
In some ways,
that's
Elden Ring
interesting.
is more direct in being like, you can level up, and Tunic's just like, if you want to level up, you better find the page and figure out the thing you were too stupid to figure out on your own, um, which is kind of funny, but it's cool. I mean, the game is getting very high praise. I think it's neat. I don't think it's like it's it's weird. I feel like there's this cut of games that are very the same in art style, and they all look very nice. Like Death's
Yeah,
Door and this
yeah,
game, where it's like I don't know if it's just an engine that's like isometric isometric adventure game with volumetric lighting and like kind of a voxelish 3D look. Like
yeah,
it's not voxel because it's like higher res than that, but it is like it kind of has that feeling to it that like that kind
yeah.
of
I know exactly what you
yeah.
mean.
And I feel like I don't know if they just all download the same project or if it's something that's pre-made, but they like you play that game and you're like, oh yeah, this is like Death's Door with
Yeah,
some different stuff on it, right? And it looks beautiful and it's really cute, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like it's a little tired, to be honest with you. Like, just my opinion.
Well, that's what this show's all about.
I also watched.
You're
Yeah. My opinion is the only one that matters on this show.
yeah. Well, don't I know it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm like 60%. You're like 40%. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's fair. I
Yeah.
think that's fair.
Yeah. I also watched this show called Halo, the series. I watched the first
No way.
episode.
Really? Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I
Did you watch
have
it?
not, and no, I guess I could, but I haven't really felt any desire to. What did you think?
It's all right.
Huh? Huh? Okay.
It looks. I mean, if if it like if they weren't talking about how expensive it was, and and there wasn't so much like Halo baggage around it, I'd
Yeah.
probably be like, oh, it's fine. I do think when you add in the to the equation, like they spent tons of money on this and it's called Halo, it definitely makes it worse. Like the thought of it
Yeah.
is worse. Um, but it's an oak. Like I wouldn't watch it. Let's just put it this way. Like I love dumb TV shows, and I watched the first episode, and I have little interest. Even in the first episode, I was very distracted halfway through. I was just sort of like, I guess, like I don't know, like none of it looked very interesting. Like the
Yeah.
action looked really bad. The people running in these Master Chief suits look like people uncomfortably running in Master Chief, like in Spartan
Yeah.
armor. Like they're all kind of like waddle walking, like mascots at a theme park. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Because how could they not?
yeah. And the CG is kind of bad, and so like there's definitely like a cheapness feeling to it for something that is clearly not cheap to make.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's a good way to describe it.
Master Chief is too much of a dude in this. Like
Yeah.
he's troubled by everything. Like, there's like a thing that happens where it like kind of gives him a view of the reality, right, of his brainwashing. But even before that moment, he's still just like thoughtful, in a way that he shouldn't be, right? Like, uh, because he's fucking Master Chief and he's like a murder machine. Like, if the idea is that the Spartans have been brainwashed into being super soldiers, right? And it's
Yeah.
like this MacGuffin somehow is going to sort of snap him out of it, right? Then why is there so much like? Why is it seem like he's troubled by his emotions prior to the MacGuffin? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like that seems strange. Like he should just be like, "Hoorah, let's go! There's a chance. Finish the fight. Fuck things up."
Yeah.
And
Master Chief.
yeah, and I feel like that's not him, right? Like, at all. And yeah, the fighting looks so dumb. Like it looks so bad. Like it's so like slow and like clunky and like
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, that sounds like kind of what I was worried it would be. And again, I don't have a huge amount of affection for that franchise, so I'm not like super torn up about it. But I have
It's exactly
zero desire to watch it.
it's exactly what you think, right?
Yeah,
And for better or worse, I think there's people that's fine. Like
yeah,
that'll
yeah,
be fine
totally.
with that, right? Like, but it has nothing to do with Halo proper,
Yeah,
right? Uh, and it looks cheap. So
yeah. I think I said this last week, but kind of same with Resident Evil, right? Like if you watch a Resident Evil movie and you have no affection for the franchise, you'd probably be like, this looks cheap, but it's fucking weird. And but if you have affection for the franchise, you might feel a little differently. So
yeah, I
who
mean, The
knows?
Witcher looks cheap and feels cheap, but I think Henry Cavill's just so likable and good, right? That it
Yeah,
helps a lot.
and they kind of lean into it in a way where it's like pulpy and sort of I don't know.
Like a
I
monster
think
of
they
the
kind
week
of
sort of thing, yeah.
yeah, they kind of worked with that feeling and like it almost adds to the sort of silly fantasy feel of it that they kind of lean into. And there's a way to make that work, but I think Halo takes itself pretty seriously and it would be extremely expensive. That's why
Yeah.
there's never been a Halo movie because it would be prohibitively expensive.
Yeah, I just feel like if Geralt wasn't a star, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't look at him and be like that guy, even if it wasn't Harry Cavill, if you didn't look at that guy and be like, well, that guy's a fucking superstar, then
Yeah.
that show Witcher wouldn't work, right?
Yeah,
And you look at
totally.
Master Chief and you're like, that guy's not a superstar, right? Like that
Yeah,
guy's gonna be in the Marine 4 direct to video,
yeah,
like, you know, like,
yeah. He's gonna be at the substitute.
yeah,
12.
yeah, like, right, like Jason Bourne 16 will be this
Yeah,
guy, right? And so it's hard to be like that amped
yeah.
about it. Um, so it's pretty
Interesting.
funny.
Well, maybe I'll watch it just so we can compare notes, but probably not.
Yeah, it's why Uncharted needed Tom Holland and Mark Hamill,
Right.
right? Like, because there's got to be something fun to watch, and
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like Halo just misses on that point, and I don't know. It's funny they're like, oh, biggest Paramount Plus original to date, and it's like, what does that mean?
Doesn't
Like,
mean
what are you
anything.
comparing it to, right?
Yeah. The other shows on this thing that they just launched.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, and I saw a thing where it was a bunch of, this is something totally different, but like Microsoft put out these charts uh, about Game Pass, and they just did comparisons of Game Pass players and non-Game Pass players on their platform, and who like played more games. And
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, look, Game Pass is killing it." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Right? Like, it's like if Prime streaming was like, "Look at how many people, only people that watch Prime streaming." Like if they have Prime, they watch 1,000 times more content. So yeah, no one else watches fucking streaming on Prime if they don't have, Prime membership, right? Like, of course, people will consume more content. It's these
Yeah.
weird comparisons, like marketing comparisons, people love to make. Is
Well, I mean, we both work in marketing. You know how it is.
yeah,
Someone just was like, "Well, here's a way we could spin this."
I'm amazed people don't just see through it. As someone that does marketing, and I guess they
Yeah.
don't. That's why it works. But whenever I see this, I'm just like, how do people not like think about
Yeah.
where this is coming from, right?
Well, thank God they don't, or we'd be out of a job.
I know charts are so. Someone sent me a chart about about Ukraine, and it said like people without COVID vaccines in Canada want to do nothing about Ukraine, right? And then you
Yeah.
look at it, and it's 1,000 people polled, and
Right.
90% of Canada is vaccinated, and
Yeah.
so like 10 people or 100 people are unvaccinated, and 30% of that group said like we
Yep.
shouldn't go to war. And so you're taking 30 people's
Yeah.
responses as as like as an indication of like a subset of people. And it's
Yep.
just like
That's why
yikes,
you cannot have a
yikes.
conversation around anything with statistics.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
just like
yikes.
impossible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I almost trust anecdotal evidence more than
Yeah.
anything.
At least you know it happened.
Yeah. Did I watch or play anything else? I downloaded GTA on my PS5 online just to see. It looks nice.
Yeah.
But
But it doesn't look as nice as on my computer.
um, I don't know. Maybe. Um, I will say, in a lot of ways, my PS5 does outperform my 1080. Like,
Yeah.
not perfectly, but in depending like on different things, right? It definitely does. Like frame rate at 4K, right? Like,
Yeah.
uh,
No, that makes sense.
and ray
It
tracing
is.
because I don't have ray tracing, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but
But it don't outperform my 3080 Ti, I bet.
no, it doesn't outperform your 3080 Ti.
I just had to throw that in there, everyone.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot you didn't still have a 1080, and I'm like, maybe it doesn't look better, but now I'm like, yeah, it definitely looks better on your PC. um, yeah, I just wanted to see what it looked like.
Yeah, no,
It's
totally.
cool.
That's cool. I
Yeah,
mean, I am always amazed every time I boot that game up how it's like, damn, this game still looks pretty amazing for how old it is. Like they did such a good job. And yeah, I know they've been improving it over time, and it's starting to show its age in the character models and stuff. But there's still times, even totally vanilla GTA 5, where I'm driving around, I'm like, holy shit, man, I cannot believe this game is like as old as it is.
yeah, and the tech, you're like, this tech is shit, but then you think about it,
Yeah,
this tech is incredible. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like,
exactly.
it's especially when you look at other games like that try and
Hmm.
do these giant open worlds, and you're like,
And
yeah,
from that era,
yeah,
especially.
and that
Like,
game's so old. Yeah. All right,
yeah,
let's. I think that's all I got for this week. Yeah, I think that's enough anyway. Let's jump into some trailers.
that's enough. Yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
So I got 3 games and a few
Ooh,
movies. Uh,
hell yeah.
None of these were really like big hitters for me, so it should be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love these. Ooh, I recognize that. What have I been playing where I keep seeing that? I don't know.
Castlevania.
Maybe. Role playing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
I never got into this series at all.
I didn't either, but I love I love this era. Ooh, this is cool.
Yeah, this is a legit trailer, like an actual trailer.
Whoa.
That's quite a spell.
Yeah, this was the era of very big spells. So I guess it's like a whoa. Interesting. Yeah, I've definitely never played this, but it looks cool.
Yeah, it does look cool. Um,
I'll check it out.
my problem with these, yeah, I mean, I'll probably check it out too. My problem with these is like, the thing that makes Tactics so great is like the job systems, and I just feel like it's easy to
Yeah.
have like a tile-based like strategy game like this. It's a whole different ball game to have one that like works in a way that, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also hard to tell what it actually is, right? Like obviously it's some sort of grid-based strategy game, but it's not, that can mean a lot of different things. So like there's the whole that whole genre of like especially on the Saturn, and there's a whole wealth of games that kind of use that visual and mechanical language, even though they're quite different than Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre. Like there's all the Shining Force games, and like there's so many in that genre that I'm just not familiar with. So it's hard to say if it's like how close it actually is, but clearly it's it's related.
yeah, my thing is I don't generally like those games, and the thing I like about Tactics is its back end, right? Like,
Yeah,
not not necessarily the fighting section, right? I think the the gameplay is really fed by the things that you're achieving in the back end, right? And I think
yeah,
that's what's interesting about that game, not the grid based combat.
yeah, yeah. I think that's fair to say. If
All right.
you only had the grid-based combat, it would be much less revered. That's
Yeah,
for
and I
sure.
feel like that's what you get. Like I think the other, what's the other one that's on Switch? The how do I not think?
Triangle strategy.
No, the main one with all the Smash characters. Why can't I think of what it's called?
Oh, Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem, yeah. Like if Fire Emblem, if it didn't have all the relationship stuff, right? Like then the grid-based combat wouldn't really like hit at the way it does, right? Like you need to have
I
something.
don't I don't know about that. I mean, a lot of them don't have the relationship stuff.
I mean, modern ones do. I think a big part of
No,
it,
yeah, for sure.
even not really, just the character. Like people love the
Yeah,
characters is
yeah,
what
yeah, for
draws
sure.
people, not the combat as much. I'm sure people like
Yeah,
the combat, but um,
yeah. No, I totally agree with you. It is more than just combat. That's for sure. All
yeah.
of them.
All right, let's look at this one. Was kind of weird. I never played this.
Hmm. Some sort of new re-release.
Well, this
Looks
has
like.
been re-released on
Whitney.
iOS.
Oh, I had just heard a podcast about this game. I've never played it either.
Some of the animation's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about. It was very unique at the time. Yeah, this is another genre that like I just have never really been familiar with. The cool like point and click adventure games from this era.
Yeah, I mean, it looks neat. Like it definitely.
It does. It looks very cool.
It's good voice acting. And that guy's got an egg in his mouth. So
I like that.
I love eggs.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that seems very cool. I would definitely play that.
yeah, I know
If
a
I
lot.
played an adventure game.
I don't have any experience with this thing, and yeah, I think this is for like one of the reasons it re-released
Yeah,
a few times. It's released on mobile.
Definitely. Yeah.
I think there's a Steam version now, but that is close to the original trailer. I found a bunch, but the original trailer is in the strangest aspect ratio. Like it, it was unviewable, and the frame rate was
Yeah, no, totally.
like the animations were like hurt my brain to watch.
I suspect that anyone who's watching this with us would probably know, would be able to tell the difference between a remaster, but like, yeah, that's totally fine. Whatever.
Yeah, I do think
I have heard a lot of good things about this game, and it being a real visual showcase for the time, even the original version.
Yeah, well, and I do think PC games in this era, we did get some cool stuff with like stop motion and
Yeah.
animation. So I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, that's The Last Express now
Yeah. Oh,
available
there
on
you go.
Steam.
And Mac. If you got a Mac,
People don't
play The Last
people don't play
Express.
games on Macs. Okay, this
You
is
play
hardly
Marathon and The Last Express.
so. This is hardly a trailer and looks
Whoa.
like terrible.
I love it. Is it Need for Speed?
Need for Speed 2. Um,
Oh wow. Did you
so
ever play these?
yeah, I thought about putting a gameplay video on here because it actually does look good. The gameplay video, um,
Yeah, it does look good.
but well, I mean, it looks better than that. I feel like these um, what do you like director mode videos look
Yeah.
kind of crummy in comparison because the environments don't look that good, but the cars look good. So when you're really
Yeah.
focused on car on road, it looks like sharp, right? But then you
Mm.
get into these big panning shots with like trees and
Yeah.
shit, and you're like, oh, this looks fucking
Yeah,
horrific.
32-bit consoles were not ready for that yet.
Yeah, yeah. But so shocked how good it looked. To be honest with you, like when I think of PS1 era, I was just like, well, that's fucking pretty nice. Like, not so bad.
Yeah, there's something about racing games. All the controversy about Gran Turismo aside, like they're always pushing. I guess just because there's no people, right? So they can really put all their work into environments and texture details and stuff like that. But they feel like racing games are always some of the best looking, at least as far as what's it called, fidelity.
And they're very
Yeah.
linear, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you're literally on a track, right? So like, there's
Yeah, and even open world racing games like Forza or whatever, you're still really on a track more or less.
yeah, yeah. And when you're not on a track, you're in wide open nothingness.
Yeah.
Like it. There's a reason why Forza is not densely populated outside of the streets. And it's because it wouldn't work if there was just fucking buildings everywhere and cities everywhere.
Well, and there's no buildings in Mexico, right? So
Yeah, Mexico
that's the other
is
part of it.
Mexico is a land lost to time where they worship the cheetah and the puma
Jaguars,
or the jaguar, and drive Volkswagen Bugs and
Ugh.
listen to techno on the beach. Okay, the
That
last
game
part's
that
true.
that game pissed me off, I have to say.
People love it. Like it is.
I know.
It's wild to me that people are like, oh, representation of Mexico, and it's so good, and it's like,
That's not good representation. I mean, I'm not Mexican, but even I was like, oh man, this is making me cringe pretty fucking hard, and I am not even Mexican. So
yeah, I hope they set the next one in Africa so people can see
Yeah.
what it feels like, because
yeah, that'd be great.
you know what I mean. Like if they did that, like, yeah, I don't know. It's although people, I feel like the Black Panther movie did some of that stuff too. I mean, luckily it was made by people of that culture, and so, I think there's it's okay, but I do feel like there's a lot of kind of like this pandery nature to those types of
Yeah.
things, and
It's one of those things where it's like subjective, right? Because like what feels like pandering to me
might not feel like,
and
yeah,
vice versa, and yeah, that's totally fair. And I do defer to someone who is more familiar with the culture than I am, or whatever. But even so, in this particular situation, it made me feel really bad. I was like, oh, this feels very pandery.
Yeah.
Although it could be worse. I'm about to go through Resident Evil 5 again, which is a game I like, but that game crosses the line like straight into racism pretty fucking hard. So there's like a spectrum for sure. I don't think Forza's being racist necessarily, but it's still just very
Yeah.
inelegant and clumsy, I guess, for lack of a better word.
I think what's really hard is like there's something racially insensitive about trying not to be racist. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't
Yeah.
think it's easy to
When
point.
is it patronizing?
Yeah, I don't. It's not easy to point at or define or like draw a line to, but but it's just something you kind of feel in it when you see it. You're like, oh, I'm not really like super, I'm half Mexican, right? So I'm not that like in tune with how Mexican people feel about this, but it's like that whole like Latinx discussion and stuff where Mexican people hate that term, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, this desire for like extreme hands-off sensitivity is actually can feel quite demeaning and
Patronizing, right? Yeah. No, for sure. It's interesting. I do think the safest bet is to just, if you're gonna have something set in a culture or use those trappings, I think having the creators be a part of that culture is usually a good place to start.
It's a good get out of jail free card.
Well, that too, but also it's like, what else can you do, man? Like,
well,
anyway.
I think what you do is good or bad. You create your vision, right? And then people can choose to like it or not. Like, I don't.
Yeah, no, of course.
In a perfect world, my ideal would be people make what they want to make, and then we decide if we like that or not, right? And
Yeah.
or if we
Well,
want to purchase that or not, right? I just
that's how it is.
sometimes kind of. I don't think that's how it is with big publisher games, right? I think that we've definitely
Yeah,
because
that's
every
right.
game has to be an 8 or a 9, right? And so there's no room for like discourse in games. I was listening to a podcast. They're saying how interesting these Square games that have come out recently are, like the Chaos one and stuff,
Yeah,
because they seem to be lost in time where they're not immediately aiming to be an 8 or a 9. You know what I
yep,
mean? They're like, we're gonna make like a weird game that it's probably gonna be like a 7, right?
yeah,
And hope for the best, or even like Ghostwire Tokyo,
yeah,
where they don't seem like beaten down by the formula, right?
yep,
And that makes them seem so strange. I feel like Elden Ring's kind of similar in that too, right? Where it's just like, no, we're just gonna make our vision, right? Like, and
yeah,
it's funny. Yeah, they tried to come for those games too, right? Like, there's a whole thing on Elden Ring about not having black hair, like hair for black people, and it's
yeah.
just like, I don't know, man. Is that really like? I mean, I guess like, but I don't know if that's really the thing here. Like, I guess just don't buy it. You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I don't know how we got here from Need for Speed, but whatever.
When we start talking about games, we get around.
Yeah, very passionate. All right, let's watch the movie trailers.
Woo!
Hey, wait.
Why does this keep happening?
It's OBS is fucking bullshit.
It's kind of funny. It's like I just never know what the fuck I'm gonna get with these trailers. It's funny.
What is this?
Well, it's not much, but it.
Okay, which one's supposed to be first? I don't even know. We'll start here.
This spring,
All right.
Turner Feature Animation introduces you to some new
Oh.
characters you'll love.
I don't know this at
Story
all.
that can only happen in the movies.
The aristocrats or cats?
No.
So join
No?
Danny, Sawyer,
No.
I don't know what this is.
Wooly,
Aristocats is Disney.
Okay, well, why are you acting like I would know that?
child star
That it's
extraordinaire.
Disney? I guess you would.
Yeah, well,
And her faithful
yeah, it's like it's not like that's their most famous movie.
What's funny, my girlfriend loves
New songs
Marie,
by
the
Grammy
little
Award
baby,
winners Randy
little
Newman
white kitten
and
from
Natalie
Aristocats.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, it's not popular. Like, you can't, don't pretend people know what this is. It's just,
Oh, yeah.
it's so popular.
of animated
I think in Japan that's more popular.
excitement and adventure.
This is called This Damn,
Cats
Cats
Don't
Don't Dance. I was gonna say
Yeah,
This
I
Damn
definitely-
Cat for some reason.
I have definitely never heard of that.
Me
Although I
neither.
feel like I probably saw it at some point.
It's got Scott Bakula,
Yeah, I was about to say it. Randy Newman did. the
Jasmine
music.
Guy. Wow,
That's
what
interesting.
a team.
It always blows my mind. I think about this a lot with games or movies or whatever, but how much work went into making this movie? And I don't know, maybe it's an awesome movie. Who knows, right? I mean, it looked fine, but it's just so interesting how like so many thousands and thousands of hours of hard work went into making this, and like no one's ever heard of it, you know? And I don't know if it made money. It's not a judgment thing. It's just like I find that so fascinating. You just
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah, it looks real dumb. I'll be honest.
Well, yeah.
Looks
I
like
don't think
dog.
we're
Looks
the-
like dog shit.
Wow. Okay.
Next
Here I
trailer.
am trying to be nice.
It looks so bad. I love animated movies. I've seen this movie. This is not a good
When the
movie.
Washington Huskies lost their star player,
The Washington Huskies.
they thought their
Is he gonna
dream of a
die?
championship
Yeah, that dude's
died
dead.
with him. But Anton Tyler is coming back
Okay.
to give his team
He's
Are
a
you
ghost.
kidding?
most of a chance.
What? That was
Don't do
another
that.
trope in the 90s, like screaming really loudly. It was like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
You need some serious help. Wait, I'm gonna prove it to you. Just throw it in. I'm gonna do all the
Looks dope, right?
No.
That happens on this planet all the time.
Yeah, he's great in Veep.
Keep this girl at a distance, man.
Marlon Wayans.
No.
What was that?
It's freaky.
For anyone who loves the game.
So good.
It's like
Everyone who refuses
unwatchable.
to sit on the sidelines.
Would you rather watch this or Cats Don't Dance?
Touchstone Pictures presents
Probably Catstone Dance just because it's like at least art.
Marlon Wayans
You think Cats Don't Dance is art? This is art.
and
No, I mean it's like animated. Someone drew it. This looks pretty artless.
Someone
in
drew
every
that
way.
thumb floating around.
Yeah, that's true. I guess the rotoscoping guy spent a lot of time.
The Sixth Man.
You know something?
Interesting.
I have the same problem.
Trust me, my problems are a lot bigger than yours.
Wow. Yeah, that looks brutal.
Looks
So
good,
you
right?
said you watched that?
When I was a kid, yeah, I remember seeing it when I was a kid.
Yeah, I think I've heard the name, but definitely never saw it.
I think when you're like 15, it's like whatever, who cares?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like Space Jam or whatever.
Start tomorrow.
Look at this cast:
Very decent of you to put me up like this.
Brad Pitt, Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
It wasn't me; it was the one-armed man.
Don't you think it's lovely here?
You're from Belfast?
Aye.
This fucking guy.
You're from Belfast.
Yeah, it's a Ned O'Toole.
That's a lovely dress you have on there.
Kiss me, Blarney Stone, with your lovely dress, Mary O'Toole. That's
Wow.
my whatever.
That was pretty racist, I feel like.
Why?
I don't know. Just felt bad. Just made me feel bad, so therefore, what else could it be? Oh no!
We're talking
It
about
appears crimes are being committed.
yeah, we're talking about white people here. Okay, there's no such
Oh
thing
yeah,
as
I forgot.
there's no such thing as racism, reverse racism. Okay,
Bring this into my house.
I need that money, Tom.
his
Mullet
accent is more
not
racist
his
than
best
mine.
look.
His accent is far more racist than mine.
I don't think that's true.
Mine was fun
Hey,
and
listen, he's a professional actor, okay?
mine was fun and jovial. His is like eating mashed. I need that money, Tom. Like he's got mashed potatoes in his mouth.
You're gonna kill him. I understand why he's doing what he's doing. If I was 8 years old and saw my father gunned down in front of my family,
What would you do?
You're on your own here, laddie.
I love him. You love him too.
That's
don't you?
nice.
I love him.
There is no way out for him.
Are they gonna have a three-way? 'Cause I'm into it if they have a three-way.
Something.
Looks
Just,
like it.
yeah, get Harrison Ford in the back on that scene, and I'm in. Brad Pitt sandwich.
We got a lot of guns in this movie.
I think it's about
Kinda.
like gun running. Ooh, belly button kisses. Guns.
Who's
and
got it
belly-
all?
Guns and belly button kisses.
And the Harrison Ford three-way.
Oh, I'm in. I'm watching this tonight.
Sold. Again, the trailer is much too long.
Far too long.
The devil's own.
Yeah, we kind of knew what was the plot.
Treat
in-
Williams. Sorry.
It's okay.
Speaking of the substitute.
Alan J. Pakula. are we just yelling out names? I'm just curious. If that's...
Lawrence Gordon and Robert Colesbury. Fuck yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah, bro.
I mean, I'd watch that. It looks pretty generic, but you know, whatever. Seems fine.
I want to kiss
I'd
Brad Pitt's belly button, so I'm in.
All right. Well,
I'm just saying,
Hear
if
that?
there's a man,
If you're watching Brad,
there's a man whose belly button I'd give a smooch to. That's him, man. He's a real smoke show.
he is pretty good looking.
It's time to power up.
Oh wow.
The world's most famous action force is back on the big screen
Damn. Those two.
Dun, dun, dun,
with
dun.
a secret weapon,
I'm the new Blue Ranger.
What are you talking about?
a giant problem,
I'm so glad they got a kid to be a Power Ranger, so kids can now
Finally.
Chaser, ready to howl.
This is awesome.
kids can relate to Power Rangers.
All right.
turbo action,
Good thing you don't need a license to drive Zord.
turbo power, turbo sword.
Turbo Zord.
Sequences online. Let's shift to the turbo.
That's my man.
Wow,
She looks cool. I like her.
Sonny.
Get ready for
Yeah,
the
she is
ultimate
cool.
power trip.
That's not the original Bad Lady, right? It's a movie-specific Bad Lady.
That is not Rita Repulsa.
Rita Repulsa. I was gonna call her Rita Skeeter, but that's from Harry Potter, I think.
So did you? I guess you were probably a little too old for Power Rangers, right?
I mean, no, I was older when it was on, but like, I did like middle school, high school, right? I don't know when
Yeah,
it started.
it was kind of like me and Pokemon. I remember watching it as a kid. Oh, I didn't have a TV growing up, so I wouldn't like watch it. But you know, it was everywhere. It was unavoidable, and I always liked the robots, and I liked the fighting. And it wasn't until I got older that I realized, like, hey, the robots in the fighting and the weapons and all the cool things were not made in this country.
Yeah.
And it is funny revisiting it now because it is so obvious what was shot in the United States and what isn't, not just like visually, but tonally and in every way. It's such a clear delineation. I find it so fascinating that I didn't notice it when I was young. I mean, I didn't have a lot of context, but it's just so clear now. It's actually quite fun watching them now, not because they're good. They're absolutely awful, so horrible. But it's interesting to see it because it is such a I don't know, it's just so half-assed. Like, what if we just took half of another show and then shot really intolerable, like, weird, shitty high school stuff and just smashed it together in the most awkward, like, the screenwriting is so forced and bad. It's like I don't know, it's just amazing to see something so clearly half-assed that was so insanely popular.
Big value play.
Can't think of anything else like that. Yeah, no,
real
totally.
value on that, right?
Very cynical though, you know. But
Yeah.
I guess I mean I don't know if it's cynical since kids loved it and it was really important to a lot of people, but it's just amazingly cheap looking now.
But
more
kids,
so than
and kids loved anything for them, right? And
well, yeah, but I'm thinking of like the Batman animated series versus this,
but
which
Batman
is like roughly
animated
the same time period.
But that's
you know,
totally different. Like the Batman
I know
animated
it's different,
series,
but it's the same target audience, and one is just so vastly superior in every way that it's kind of just interesting.
Yeah, but the bulk of content for young people was trash. Right.
Yeah,
like,
and still is for sure.
It's still. I mean, I think the problem with Power Rangers isn't that the American parts were trash. It's that the Japanese part is very purposeful. Like it was done with intent and like is actually good for what it is. You know what I mean? Like
no,
I think so. I mean, I don't think they're joking, right? Like I think that they're.
No, I don't think they're joking either, but it's not good.
I think it's exactly what it is, right? I don't think it's that bad. I don't know. It's funny. It's like a Godzilla movie, right? Like, you know, if you like Godzilla movies, you get it's.
I love Godzilla movies,
right? It's the same thing. Like, I guess if you're familiar with that style of, you know, people in suits in tiny cities and stuff, right? Like, then it's like, oh, this is cool, you know. But the American part's not cool. You know, like watching it as an adult, there's no like.
It's brutal.
Yeah,
it's like it's worth watching an episode just because it's so brutal that it's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
if you like watching a horror movie, honestly.
Yeah, there's no fondness, I think, in watching that stuff. Where I do think watching the Japanese part is like that's pretty neat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Absolutely. I have an affinity for it, I guess. But
yeah, it's certainly infinitely more charming than the American stuff. And I think when people think about the Power Rangers, like from my era and yours, it's always like, oh, the Pink Ranger was hot or whatever, which is like, okay, sure, I guess for the time, yes, but that's it, right? And everything else anyone remembers is like, yeah, the fucking robots. It's all the Japanese stuff. No one's like, man, I thought it was so funny when the two bullies were like, there's all these sound cues and they're like, oh, it's so cringy. It's pretty interesting.
I just feel like TV shows were so like TV shows for kids, TGIF stuff, like or like Saturday morning TV shows, like the American Dreams show, and like, you know, Saved by the Bell, and like all those shows are.
It's all brutal.
Just jump.
Some of the animated stuff is good though. Some of it,
like Gargoyles and Batman, and even
X-Men.
Even like Reboot was pretty good.
Yeah,
it'd
be fun to watch Reboot now. I bet that is fascinating.
If the CG wasn't so dated, I feel like Reboot would like stand up a lot more now. Like, you know, Batman was so well animated that it holds up so well. I think the problem with Reboot is it was like the original CG, so it probably looks like fucking garbage.
It's probably kind of fun though.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm gonna look up some Reboot this week. I think that would be fun.
That would be fun. So that's it for today. That's what we got. That's our trailers. Anything
fun?
Anything stand out for you today?
I was thinking maybe at the end of each show we should pick our favorite of the three, and it can be the favorite trailer. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be our favorite, like the one we like the most, but maybe just the most interesting. If I had to choose, it would definitely be I guess I had the most to say about the Power Rangers movie.
Yeah, I mean,
but I definitely don't want to watch it.
I had the most to say about Brad Pitt, so
but yeah, that's okay.
I'm going with that one for the movies. What about the game? Which game stood out the most to you?
I think for just personal taste, and the game I want to look up is probably Vandal Hearts, just because I have such a fondness for 32-bit era, Square Soft. I know that wasn't Square, but that style of game more so than the others. What about you?
I think I really might watch a playthrough on YouTube of The Last Express. I don't know if I want to play it,
Yeah.
right? But I could definitely see myself scanning through like a
Yeah.
full gameplay video and just seeing like what it is. And because what surprised me, the voice acting looked so good. Like in
Yeah.
that little snippet, and I was like, "Is it
Yeah,
all
totally.
like really good?" like because it seemed very genuine and like well done. I'm like, I kind of want to see what's going on. Like,
Yeah, I agree. That
so
does sound
that
fun.
one really stuck out to me. But all right, anything else you want to get into before we get out of here?
No, man, this was fun though. I always enjoy it.
I always enjoy it too. It's such a great time, and I thank you guys for watching or listening if you're here. And that'll do it for us today. I gotta go run some errands, so it's time
Ooh,
to
exciting adult stuff.
exciting adult stuff. So thank you guys. We love you. We appreciate you, and we'll be back next week for some more.